Welcome to another edition of SAT TV News. I'm Alicia George. Thanks for joining us. In our top stories, $4.6 million to construct Bells Water Supply Project. Hunting season officially open. From the region, Nevis Premier sues state-owned broadcaster for defamation. And internationally, Spain investigates new case of Ebola. In sports, DFA to kick off Domnex Women's League. Details of these and other stories will follow right after the break. Welcome back. Millions of dollars are being spent on the construction of water systems across the island, with the latest contract signing taking place in Bells. On Monday, Dominica Water and Sewerage Company, DOWASCO, officials and contractors engaged in the construction of the Bells Water Supply Project signed the contract, signaling the commencement of over $4.6 million in investment for that community. Honorable Reginald Austrie, Minister for Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, assured the residents of Bells that this investment is not an election gimmick. The minister said that the government has had to source millions of dollars to give the citizens of Dominica access to potable water.
You don't go to the river to get the water. We have to take the water to your homes. And the Prime Minister was just noticing the amount of money we have to spend just to get to the source of the water. In fact, the cost of the road sometimes exceeds the cost of the water project itself.
According to Minister Austrie, by the end of 2012, the government had already spent $180 million for access to potable water around the island. The Minister for Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management explained that the water supply projects may well have the largest expenditure incurred by the government as it relates to projects undertaken.
And between 2013 and 2014, we spent some $16 million, which takes us up to pretty close to $200 million that this government has spent in bringing potable water to the people of Dominica. And like I said on many occasions, to recover the cost of that investment at the present rate will take us 100 years to recover the cost of that investment.
The Bells Water Supply Project is being funded through loan financing. Estimates for the tendered works are EC $4,550,000, including $1,854,651.20 for Lot 1 and EC $2,695,348.80 for Lot 2. Parliamentary representative for the Bells constituency, Honorable Kelva Daru, said commencement of the water project was made possible by his persistent inquiry into the matter.
I was filled with joy because I knew that this was a promise I made to the people of Bells, and I kept this promise, and we have delivered, and we will continue to deliver as the Labour Party government, my dear friends. As your parliamentary representative, as your friend, I will continue to be here to listen to your needs and your plights. I will continue to dedicate my time and my service to you, the people of Bells, Penrose and Pocassi.
Construction was expected to begin today, Tuesday, October 7th, 2014, following the project launching of the Bells Water Supply Project. Good news for wildlife hunters. Hunting season officially opened today, October 7th, and will last until December 31st, 2014. The Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division of the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry announced Monday that the government of Dominica has approved the temporary lifting of the ban on hunting and fishing in freshwater streams within that period. Ashton Luge, Assistant Forest Officer in charge of wildlife protection for the Eastern and Roseau Range, told SAT TV News on Tuesday that hunters are free to hunt, but only species of animals authorized by the division.
When the season is open, now under the law, you are allowed to hunt things like manicou crabs, agoutis, freshwater streams, freshwater species. But you can, and also a thing called the redneck pigeon, which locally we call it the rami. But you are not allowed to hunt any specially protected birds like the Cicero and Jacko, and you are not allowed to hunt other protected birds like the other birds like maybe the warbler and the house wren. These are birds that you are not allowed to hunt.
Luge said these animals, however, can only be hunted outside of national parks and protected areas.
But hunting is allowed in obviously private lands with the permission of the private owner. Hunting is allowed in the forest reserves. But hunting is not allowed in the national parks and protected areas. Now there are unallocated state lands or crown lands where hunting can take place as well. So For instance, you cannot do an hunt in the area of Emerald Pool and Boiling Lake. These are all within the national park, and the national park has a specific boundary.
The forest officer revealed that because of some hunters' negligence and lack of knowledge on which of the animals can be hunted, hunting season had to be cut down to 3 months.
This season used to be actually 6 months, but obviously because of the rate of hunting, the increase in hunting, the changes and nature of breeding of the wildlife, and also the activities that take place, we were forced to reduce on the time. So as a result, we made 3 months. We cut from 6 months to 3 months. So the season now is gazetted, and it is open from October 1st to the 31st of December every year.
During that period, licensed hunters and licensed freshwater fishermen can only hunt the specified animals. Hunting and fishing licenses may be purchased at the office of the Forestry and Wildlife Division on the Windsor Park Link Road and the sub-treasuries in Portsmouth and Marigot. The Forestry and Wildlife Division is reminding the general public that it is an offense under the Forestry and Wildlife Act to hunt or fish in freshwater streams without a valid license, and that the hunting of all other species of animal, including the mountain chicken, all birds and iguanas, is strictly prohibited. The traveling public is also reminded that it is an offense to take or attempt to take wildlife in any form out of the country without first obtaining a permit to do so. The Dominica Festivals Committee, DFC, and the Discover Dominica Authority, DDA, is working closely with health officials ahead of the 18th Annual World Creole Music Festival to ensure proper measures are taken to safeguard the public against the Ebola virus. This was revealed by the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of the DDA, Colin Piper, during the weekly WCMF press conference on Tuesday.
We ourselves are working with the health officials just to make sure. Just today, actually, I was on the phone with the Director of Operations in St. Martin just to understand, as people come through, what their screening processes are. So that's something that's a work in process that we continue to work on, working with our local health officials here and working with all the ports of call. We have people coming through Charles de Gaulle, Paris, Orly. We have people coming through Guadeloupe, Martinique. So we're in the process of understanding what the processes, the policy and procedures are of each of those hubs, so that it will inform our plan here in Dominica.
Piper said the public can rest assured, as they have already met with their health officials as recent as a week ago and will meet again on Wednesday. He noted the safety and security of Dominicans is paramount.
We will, the DFC, the DDA board, maybe even, put some sort of a note together for the government to be apprised of all the options so that the collective minds can come together and do what they believe is in the best interest of Dominica, not only for the festival, but in general, because, we talk about tourism being the engine of growth. Tourism is a movement of one person to another destination for at least one night. And so this means that the worldwide tourism industry is going to be, impacted. And so we are looking to people like the WNTO, which is the United Nations World Tourism Organization. We're looking to all the health organizations to understand what is being put forth as a best practice.
He added they are looking to regional counterparts to adopt best practices to ensure the safety of Dominicans. Leader of the United Workers' Party, UWP, Lennox Linton, is of the view that health officials need to begin the process of ascertaining whether or not a major Nigerian act scheduled to perform at the 18th Annual World Creole Music Festival will pose any risk to Dominica. He said the Ministry of Health need to pay special attention to the facts and science about the deadly Ebola virus.
If the government's Ministry of Health is unable to do that, it's unable to ascertain between now and then whether there are risks, the preferable thing to do would be to deny entry for that one bag. Only because the Ministry of Health would be saying, we still don't have the capability to do what needs to be done in terms of ascertaining whether anybody from that area, who we know who are coming, this is not somebody who is coming on a holiday and ends up in Dominica by accident. We have contracted with this group to come here. We know who the members are. They're not going to arrive here until the end of the month. We have known that for some time. So since we have this Ebola matter on our doorsteps, it should be possible for arrangements to be made for our health officials here to ascertain, long before they arrive, whether these people have been exposed. And if they can't do that, the preferable thing would be to cancel that particular ban.
However, he said the UWP is not in favor of a travel ban at this time, but would recommend proactive screening by the Ministry of Health. Linton said they are concerned that with numerous discussions on Ebola, as it relates to concerns and fear to date, the Ministry of Health is yet to inform the public on its procedures to deal with the virus.
Ebola is not new. Ebola has been around since 1976. I mean, unfortunately, we've had this outbreak in recent times, which is threatening the world community right now. But we have to work with the facts and work with the science, and we have to take on board what this is asking us to do. At the end of the day, it's how well we defend against viruses that decide, how well we survive. So the optimization of our immune levels critical, and this is something I would expect to be hearing from the local Ministry of Health on.
The UWP leader said we cannot hide from the virus. However, we can prepare ourselves as effectively as possible, given the resources available and the best practices that have emerged in other countries for screenings and overall coping. Linton stated Dominica must be proactive in its approach to the disease and learn from experiences such as recent surge of chikungunya on the island.
At some point in time, the virus is going to show up on our doorsteps, God forbid. If it happens, what is going to be our defense? Because you never know how it's going to come. Seeing that it is now spreading and it is left where the epidemic was in the first instance, it's now in America, and you hear all the struggles there. We are saying, from the point of view of United Workers' Party Team Dominica, let us get onto this. Let us assess our capability. Let us benchmark what is happening in other countries in terms of screening. Let's see what best practices are emerging in terms of how we cope. And let's start putting things in place.
The UWP leader said when we look back on how the health officials dealt with the chikungunya virus, the record will show that we were not sufficiently proactive, nor were we effective in aligning necessary resources and to a proper strategy for coping, which is what we need to do with this Ebola virus. When asked about preparations for the World Creole Music Festival as it relates to the Ebola virus, officials from the Dominica Festivals Committee said they were awaiting word from the Ministry of Health with regards to what should be done. A number of activities have been planned for this year's observation of Blind Awareness Month being held in October. According to Executive Director of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, DAPD, Natalie Murphy, the activity is normally held in the month of May. However, it was not possible at that time due to circumstances beyond their control.
In October also, the International Agency observes World Sight Day and White Cane Day. World Sight Day will be on October 9th and White Cane Day on October 15th. So we decided to incorporate these activities into the month's program, as well as a number of training workshops, visits to schools.
She said the Public Affairs Section of the United States Embassy in Barbados funded the program at a cost of US $7,500, out of which white canes will be purchased to be distributed to visually impaired and or blind persons who will be trained to use them. Murphy said during the month of activities, the family members of blind and visually impaired individuals will be trained in assisting them, as they have realized many persons do not know the proper way to assist these individuals.
So the program is gonna continue tomorrow with school visits. On Thursday, we have a special program on the Radio Talking Point program, so you are invited to listen to that. On Friday, we are doing a training with, as I said, the blind persons with the canes, so that you will get a better feel of what it is to use a white cane. And we always recommend that when a person loses his sight or begins to lose his sight, that you use a white cane, because it's a form of identity, and it also helps with your mobility. But there are people who are reluctant to use the white canes because So either they're out of pride or they're feeling bad or whatever. They don't want people to know they are blind, but it is for your own security, it's for your own safety, and it's also to assist others to identify that you have a problem not being able to see.
She noted they will visit 4 primary and 4 secondary schools during Blind Awareness Month. They will also stage 2 White Cane demonstrations, one on October 17th in Portsmouth and the other on October 24th in Roseau.
We are going to do a training with family members in particular, discussing the whole issue of having someone in the family who loses his sight, coping with blindness, adjustment to blindness. And of course, look at the difficulties that we experience here in Dominica in not having rehabilitation officers or adjustment to blindness officers. And I am hoping that at the end of the exercise, we will put another project together to the public affairs section where we'll ask them to send 1 or 2 persons, give us funding where we can train 1 or 2 persons on adjustment to blindness who will then be able to help those who acquire blindness and those who are already living with blindness.
She is hoping the public can support their month of activities amidst the numerous activities already planned for this month. This has been the local segment of the news.